Yeah, no, he's a kid who can play. He's a three-star from Orlando. Goes to high school in Orlando, but he's actually from South Florida. His brother, Troutman, is a kid who is at Louisville, and he was in South Florida playing for at a different number of high schools. He was even at Miramar when I was there for like a week. Ended up at St. Thomas, I want to say, to finish out his high school time. So DESHAWN is the younger brother of Trenell. So he's from South Florida. And actually, I saw Andrew Ivins from 247. He Sports. He put up a tweet. Says like Miami has like 13 or 14 commitments. 11 of them are from South Florida, and another 2 of them were born in Dade County, being Troutman and Elijah Arroyo, the tight end who lives in Texas now. Excuse me. Yeah. So yeah, Troutman can play. He's got good size. He has good speed. I know that he's rated as a 3-star right now, but I watched the film after, seeing that he had committed and that we were really going after him. And if that's not a 4-star linebacker, I would like to talk to some people and then maybe learn what a 4-star linebacker looks like, because that looks like a 4-star linebacker to me. And I've been looking at players for a long time. I've been doing this thing. So, you look like, as a prospect, similar to Jermaine Grace, who, again, I saw every day for 3.5 years at Miramar. He was a solid 4-star. You look at other guys with size and speed and the ability to play in space, like a Troutman does or has. I don't know what to say, but I think that he's going to get a bump sometime soon to be up in that 4-star range. Miami did miss on a kid from St. Thomas Aquinas, Jaden Hood, who committed to Michigan at linebacker, and then they turned up the heat on Troutman and said, okay, look, sometimes you have to make decisions, and sometimes decisions are made for you. So, yeah, by missing out on one, then you go with the other one. And I think that that's a good fit and everything. And I think that it's not just a consolation prize. Like, Troutman is not just okay, cool. Well, we might as well, end the class kind of. He's not that kind of guy. So don't get it twisted that we missed on one and then we got another as being like a bottom of the barrel thing. No. We missed on number 1. We went to number 2 at the top of the list. And you'll see his offer list is expanding already, even with things getting closed down due to COVID and whatnot. So you have SEC schools checking on him and everything. There's even, a bunch of us on Twitter who are tweeting about looking at Troutman as a prospect and saying, hey, I think that he's better than we're giving him credit for. And a couple of people are like, hey, man, stop talking, man. The opposing teams, they look on Twitter and everything like that. Like, don't put it out there. Look, there's digital film. He's already committed to Miami. So you have 2 different kind of things where it's like, okay, wait, well, let's go look at this guy now from another program. So I think that the cat's going to get out of the bag, that this kid is really, really pretty good. But for right now, he's committed to Miami. Like I said, he's from Dade County, originally moved up to Orlando when he was in 9th grade, which is a couple of years ago. I think that was right after his brother graduated from Aquinas. So, or when he was going into his senior year at Aquinas, something like that. But yeah, he's a guy who's from down here. Again, with Elijah Arroyo, we have the majority of this class is from South Florida. And if you're talking about rebuilding this roster in that kind of way, starting local and then going national, which again is one of the recruiting rules, which is still an article feature that I have up on stateoftheu.com, which you should be reading. Miami's doing a very good job with that. There can be a conversation had about maybe doing more with the top end players locally. But if you're talking about getting guys who are from here, who want to be here and want to be Hurricanes, the Miami Hurricanes are doing a really good job at that right now.
Yeah, so if you check out the 247 Sports Composite, this is what Cam's talking about in regards to just looking at the sheer numbers. And when I say numbers, I mean rankings, which obviously are important. They're fairly accurate most of the time, or extremely accurate much of the time, but not dead on. And players' rankings obviously change at times, and a lot of players blossom later. A lot of players are really good players who there's not a whole lot on earlier in their recruiting cycle. So you've got the 38th rated inside linebacker and top 1,000 player in the nation, regardless of position, number 126 in Florida. That's according to the composite. Cam is certainly backing up what we've heard elsewhere, and he's certainly talked to a number of sources who agree with him that his kid is much better than that.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be a solid 4-star. He's going to be a top 350 400 player in the country. I want to say when everything is all done, and everything. And the recruiting rankings are pretty good, but like they get better as time goes on, just because you have more data points. So the terminal ones, the ones at the end of the class, those are the ones that are really good, like the best ones in terms of projection, in terms of college potential, NFL drafting, those kind of numbers when you get to the end of the cycle. And I think coming off of a 13-2 season, because he goes to Edgewater. Yeah, they got to a state championship game against St. Thomas Aquinas. They lost, but they got there. And coming off a 13-2 season, being one of the key players, one of the central players on that defense that led them to that state championship game, and had them in a dogfight with Aquinas for a while. I think that and the evidence of his play, and then the measurables as well, I think that he's going to be a guy who skyrockets.